Yo, Chief. Happy 80th birthday. We love you, pal.
Look. Yeah.
Happy birthday. The camera's gone. Where's the camera?
Look at that. He don't know what the hell to think. Come on, get some. I think it came out for.
Yeah, it did. He didn't have a clue.
He didn't have no clue.
He walked up, he was like, what are these people doing here?
I still don't think he knows what the hell's going on.
I think he's in shock a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
He's all right.
That's his buddy there, Al Mossop.
There's Mossop there?
That's Mossop, Al Mossop, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, look at
Good
that.
job. Great.
Good.
Good job, man.
Oh, I gotta watch out on pouring this goddamn pool.
We got Underwood Osborne right down the street. What do you need, music? All right, relax. We're fine. Everybody's talking. We're good. How you doing? All right. How you doing, man? All right. Got any of them hot peppers around or anything? How you doing? Good. Nice job.
Getting it all.
Oh, yeah. What do you think, buddy?
Oh, good. He's telling me he's coming over to see the game.
So maybe I'll stop over here today. What do you think?
Did she know it?
Nah, she didn't know it either. We didn't tell her ass either. No. Yeah.
Got a lot of the army guys over here.
Oh yeah, we got more coming too. We got more coming. Walter Patrick.
How you been doing, Ray? Heard you tell her anything?
Let me get a crowd now. Crowd shot. Patty did a nice job with the house decorating, didn't she?
Yeah, it's good. Everybody did good.
Yeah.
All right, this is great. There he is.
Good, got them all.
What's up, man?
Hey, happy birthday, sir.
My kid?
How you doing, pal? Happy birthday, pal.
We got one number. There's the fourth one there. College is tied for two.
I got a knife.
All right.
No, 8.
Bernie knows these stories.
All right.
I know Rennie will tell the truth.
Rennie always tells the truth.
Yeah, I'm a night owl.
Thank you. I just want to congratulate Jeep on his 80th. I hope I make it there. We had a lot of good times in the service. Jeep was great with me. And yeah, there are a couple things. I remember one time going up to Drum on a convoy. We pulled out of Binghamton, and 81 didn't exist then. You had to give up the back road. It was one lane either way. And the company commander made a mistake at that time, and I can't remember who the company commander was, but it was Jeep, Bobby Barnett, and a 3/4 ton. That in itself was trouble. You could reach right through to the 48 quart cooler. It was filled with beer, and everything was fine. And we're going up that road, and I got to go. And we had cut the top out of a beer can, and you went in the can, and it went out the window. You know, you couldn't just stop. So I go in the can, I fill the can, and I go like this, I'm driving. And Jeep and Bobby looked at me and said, "You've got to be kidding." Right? Well, I said, "All right." I threw it out the window. Unfortunately, there was a car going the other way. But that was the last year we were allowed to drive together going up there. I remember being the designated driver. And that was when, you know, Ed and Jeep and Horace and all the rest of them get together on the weekend going out, or even during the week if we were inside. And I drove, and of course I wasn't allowed to drink. They had whatever they wanted, but I had to come back totally sober. And some things like that, going into town, going into some of the bars in Carthage and some of the other places we went to, we sure had a lot of fun. And I'll tell you, I think of it many times. My wife and I were up there not too long ago, and we were going through Drum, and then we're going up to Alexandria Bay, and we're driving along, and she turns the radio off. And I said, "Just turn the radio off for her." She said, "Well, there's a sign there, they're blasting, and, you know, it's an electronic radio. It says turn electronic equipment on." I said, "The whole damn ignition is electronic." And by the way, she showed me a way to get to Alexandria Bay, which I never knew existed and is now new. We spent a lot of time up there, and Jeep, the greatest to you, guy. We've got to leave early because I've got a business meeting to go to. Take care.
All right, Ryan. Good job, buddy. No? Yeah, that's what it is.
Where's that Michael Johnson?
Jeep, I've been waiting 42 years to do that. Believe it or not.
Uh-oh.
And I'm 80 plus, well, I'm gonna sit down too.
You don't, I'll just jump in there. You don't notice, Russ, we're the only two left. Last, I don't think, talking about, I guess.
That's permanent duty guys in 1950. They're the last two, I guess.
Quite a few permanent duty people.
Yep. We're the last two.
Bill, come here, cigarettes, Billy.
Well, like I said, I've been waiting a long time for this.
Is there matches there, too?
Hey, Russ, is that a lesson plan?
Thanks.
That's a lesson plan. That's what we use way back. First, I'd like to thank Scotty and Patty MacAdams for inviting us here.
All right. Nice job, Patty Scott.
For turning 80, or else we wouldn't have it. So anyway, when we first joined up,
That might close.
I didn't know Mac or Jeep. I didn't know him. Having trouble with that, huh? Yeah. Years ago, I didn't need one of these things. Anyway, I didn't know Jeep. Jeep probably didn't know me. After a few months, I didn't even care if I knew Jeep. But we got along, and I'll tell you what, he was my mentor. When I first started on the job, I didn't know it from Shine North. I followed Jeep like a little kid, hanging on to his mom's apron string. And I learned a lot, and I remembered a lot. Jeep's been great. We went through hell together. We'll probably go to hell together. When you open your invitations, you notice where the map was at to get here. It says, bring your photographs and bring your stories. We have, at the regimental headquarters in the Woodbury Armory, a large museum, and all my mementos have been placed in there, so I have no photographs, all but one, which I keep. And like a damn fool, I didn't take it and enlarge it, but it will be enlarged. You can get to you. Something that I think that you would like because I like it. As far as what went on, I have a couple of questions I'm going to ask you. One is, who cut the rubber bands up and put them in Gresham's?
White tobacco?
Yeah, who did that?
I don't know.
Sure stuck up the place.
Yeah, I used to have a pipe there, and we used to cut up the rubber bands and put in those tobacco in.
He put the Limburger cheese in his Dutch drawer.
Well,
I don't know.
they put it on the telephone receiver. Limburger cheese, and he went out and did it.
And who was the guy that jumped into the baker's truck about 3 o'clock in the morning in Salem, New Jersey, thinking it was a 3/4-ton truck to get back to Woodbury? Well, I don't know either, do we? Well, we don't know. But anyway.
Good job, Raymond.
I have a few of your friends, a few of my friends, that one night called me up on the phone and said that they couldn't make it here. Such as Captain DeWalt, Colonel Bullock Jones, First Sergeant Barnett, Sergeant Blum, God bless him, Sergeant Buck, Master Sergeant Carter, Major Craig, Sergeant Dillwright, how about Warrant Officer Flanagan, Sergeant Freeman, First Sergeant Gibson, C.W. Gresham, First Sergeant Herman, Colonel Long, Sergeant Major Joe MacAdams, First Sergeant McBride,
Wow.
Master Sergeant Morris, Master Sergeant Peachy, and I can go on, ending up with John and Jim Taylor. And I think you remember one big boy. I shouldn't have lied. But anyway, they ain't gonna make it.
See from Gloucester?
We'll meet him. Years ago, when we were working at the Woodbury Armory, somebody gave us a gift of a piano, a beautiful, upright piano. One of these things you pedal with your feet, and the key will keep popping up and down at you. And we bought it to the Army, or at least it got there, and we painted it white. And we put these here colorful sprinkles, and we threw it all over the piano, all made top and bottom, all over the place. And it was beautiful. Well, after a while, nobody could play it. Everybody's feet got tired from bouncing up and down. And they said, well, we got to get rid of the piano. So what do we do with it? We put out the bid. Who wants a piano? And our battalion commander, Major Craig, said, well, I would like to have it downstairs in my cellar. And we moved it with Jeep and the piano movers. And we moved this big, massive piano to an old 6x6, 2.5-ton truck. We got it upstairs, we got it in the house, and now we got the long corridor instead of going down like this. I'm on one end with a rope, Barnett's on the other end. I think he was down the bottom, and somebody else was on the bottom, and we start sliding it thing down. And either I don't think I'd do a stupid thing like that, but I on a rope broke, and down these steps this piano went, and it hit that wall. And I never knew a piano had so many parts in it. Their keys were flying over the damn plate, and these hammers, and so Major Craig said, well, now what am I going to do now? I think you better find a good piano tuner. So we left there, didn't we? Oh, yeah, we left there. Tiny Johnson. You remember
Yeah.
Tiny passed away, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Was Tiny the one that they found on the crook?
He had a helmet liner, his head was so big, we had to take the guts out of the helmet liner. You know, the ribbon goes, the fan goes in there, we had to take that out so you could fit him in. Big Tiny Johnson.
Hey, Tiny Johnson. Nobody messed with Tiny Johnson.
19.5 neck. We had to get non-tariff clothing for him. We did, we had to get non-tariff and get it made special.
So Tiny was out in the field one day, and Tiny came out with pretty good straight limbs of trees, and he manufactured arrowheads. And he took this thing and he made crossbows, like that, on Jeep's orderly room door. And he put a sign on it that said "Top Nigger."
All these guys in the platoon that were all black. They were great. They were great guys. The whole support platoon was black. And even the officer, Lieutenant Robinson.
Robinson, he was black and great.
He's got a memory, doesn't he?
I'll tell you that. And how about the 15 days of continuous rain? You think it rained the other day? 15 days of rain. It rained a day, it rained at night, it rained in the evening, it rained and rained and rained. The latrine was flooded out. The mess hall was flooded out. The vehicles wouldn't operate because they were flooded out. And on the 13th day, the medical officer of the camp came out and says, "Get these people the hell out of this field." And we went in. Hell, we went into that camp, the first thing we had to do was scrub the barracks floor, do this, and we were better out with all that stuff than to stay out in this field. Rain. No. Well, that actually is about it. I think I hit the high points, and I think I hit some of the low points. So what do you got left? What you got left is a commercial. You know, it's like television. You sit up here, you see two comedians, and it's like a commercial. But as I said before, most of us fellows that were together, like Ed MacAdams, Pete MacAdams, myself, Rennie Smith, Sergeant Hancock over there, my son, what are you? Yeah, what's your name? I get them mixed up anyway. Anyway, we all thought way back in 19-something. I gotta read your notes. Oh yeah, there it was. On 2 June of 1988, I said, this is quite a shame. We put all this time together, and now we're all retired and we just blow away like leaves. We got together and we formed an organization. That organization still is working today. And it's a regimental headquarters of not only retiree people, but people that was with our battalion years ago. They stayed with us. Got a captain shoot over there. We have the major, I can't think of his name, he's out of Salem. I bet you'll probably read my forgetting his name. But anyway.
Al Massa.
Al Massa, thank you very much. And we got, pardon?
Alfred C. Massa.
Albert C. Massa was the goal.
We formed this organization. We meet. We now have a museum in there. Those people that can make it, around 12, 13 people, every Wednesday morning meet there. We do various things. And that is a shame because nobody comes up and sees our museum. So the invitation's out. Anybody that wants to come up on Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 12 o'clock, except this Tuesday. Tuesday we will be there, Wednesday and everything else in the month. Come up and look at our museum. It's well worth it. It's stuff that we had used years ago, so forth and so on.
We'll be there, Russ.
Okay, all right. Gee, in closing, what you said, somebody said thank God. including.
I'd love somebody to laugh on
Chief,
themselves.
as I said before, you're my mentor, and I appreciate everything you do. Happy life to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, good job, Ross. Good job. All right, buddy. You know Jeep.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it appears that the MacAdams have something that many of us desire. That is complete harmony with brothers, very tight. I wish many other families in our society could banish this and say, yes, we're going to change and have that tight family organization. Because today, it don't exist in many homes. And I think the MacAdams have always set an example, not only in their family structure, but also I can say with the 1st Battalion Headquarters Company, which I had the privilege of serving some time ago. In '58, I was commissioned 56 in the MPs. I transferred out of the MPs when I did away with the 161. And I came back to the battalion where I had been a non-com for years. And then I went up to brigade. I stayed up the brigade and become the headquarters commandant for 6 years. And after a short time up there, I said to Colonel Doyle, Colonel, I want to go back to the battalion where I came from. And he says, you mean the MacAdams battalion? I said, well, you can call what you want, but I said, that's really my home, and I think I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the brigade headquarters. It's taught me a lot, and you've been very gracious to me. I wish you'd grant me this wish. And Colonel Doyle at that time was ready to become a general. He said, I have one request. I want you to take the headquarters company to camp one more time, because we have a new colonel coming in, and can't remember his name. Bday. Colonel Bday was coming in. He was the vice president of Chase Manhattan Bank, and he wanted me to take the company, and then he would change to another officer after that. So I did. So then shortly thereafter, somewhere around 1965, I came back to battalion, and I became the motor officer. Short time after that, probably within a year and a half, Dick Long, who I thought was a tremendous individual. He had always been an individual who was always helpful anytime he wanted. He was the exec. He asked me, he said, Al, would you take the headquarters company to camp temporarily because Captain Rappa had some illnesses and he couldn't make it. I said, temporary, yeah, because I've had a little enough of being a headquarters commandant with so many people, and now you're giving me a company of 300 people. He said, but it's only temporary, don't worry about it, you got a good staff. I said, you mean the MacAdams? He said, yeah, they're all in the key positions. I said, okay, so I took it. So we went to camp, we came back, and shortly thereafter, being an individual is very critical of one's duties, coming from the state police, you either perform or you leave. That has always been my philosophy. So I called him Mac and I said, these are some of the changes we're going to make. Some of the platoon sergeants are going to move, and some other people are going to move as well. Mac said, okay, we can do that. I said, you got a little greasy Italian out there. He's about 5 foot. No matter what you do with him, you can't dress him up. And what's he doing with corporal stripes? I want him reduced to at least private first class, and then we'll reduce him to private after that. And Max says, now wait a minute, Cap, you got to figure everything. I said, what do you mean figure everything? This man's a disgrace. He says, oh yeah? Can you get into the city dump in Woodbury on a weekend after all the trash we build up? I said, no, why? He said, he can. He works for the city trash department. I said, he's a fine corporal. Leave him alone. Mac had a way of knowing everyone. I'm talking 300-man company. The only people I knew were those who come before me for disciplinary action. We have 2 gentlemen over here who served under me. I'm embarrassed. I didn't know they served under me because I never saw these people. They were only faces. The only ones I ever saw were those who come in for disciplinary action. I had to depend on Mac constantly to tell me who they were, what they were doing, and so forth. When we'd have a problem, I'd say to my first sergeant, who I thought the world of, because I thought he was sent from heaven because he knew everything and I didn't. I'd play this little game. I used to smoke those little stogies. I said, come on, we got a showdown inspection. I want you to know, everybody, I'm pissed off. I'm really not, but we got to get them really on the board here. So I smoked my little stogie, put on my hat, and he'd go out real quick, gather all the platoon sergeants, says, oh my God, the old man, he's in a rage. I don't know what to do with him, get everything perfect. And then I'd walk up and down, puff my little cigar. When I come back, I say, how things were? He says, 100%. It worked fine. These are the things you had to do. But Mac knew everybody. He knew what to do. He knew when we had the problems, when we didn't have. And I'll tell you right now, you cannot run a 300-man company unless you have somebody that you totally depended upon. Oh, you have officers. But the first thing I did when I took over that unit was I told the officers and my platoon leaders, you don't know anything. Stop. Don't do a thing until you talk to your platoon sergeants and check with the first sergeant, and then we'll go from there. Because what they try to do immediately in the guards and everywhere else, they give you second lieutenants normally who they want to fill in. And of course the second lieutenant out of the academy and somewhere else, they're going to lick the world. It's like any place else. We had the same thing in police training. But thank God Mac was my mentor. When I look around here and I see all these men that served with me, all were from headquarters. 1st Battalion, 114th. Not the 2nd Battalion, the 114th. 1st Battalion. And that is the unit that I am proud of and I was proud to serve with. They did the job. And if you look around here, you'll see all these non-coms who have spoken played an integral part in making our battalion what it was. And I am proud, very proud, to have served the 4 or 5 years I did as their unit commander. And I could not have done it alone without Chief MacAdams. I'll always remember that man because he did things for me that I could never even thought of doing. He kept me afloat and he kept me straight. Thank God our unit had Chief MacAdams. Distinguished boxer in when he used to be up at the State Police Academy. Is that right, Al? Yeah.
No trouble around here, right? All right, my great displeasure to introduce the biggest ball buster of them all, Horace MacAdams.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, somebody's got a cup there.
Oh boy.
Hey, I'm MC.
Pussycat.
I won't be as long as Russ and Al because they go on and on and on. But anyway, being an officer and serving with Jeep, my brother, sometimes we had confrontations. Very few times, but sometimes we had confrontations. And at one time, the confrontation arose from the motor pool, which I was in charge of, through the first sergeant. And one thing led to another. And there was a lot of confrontations going on. So I catch Jeep in the hallway one day and I says, can I talk to you a minute? And he says, yes, what's it about? I said, can we talk it over sensibly, you and I, about the situation in the motor pool? And Jeep says, of course we can. What do you want to tell me? So him and I discussed it, and pretty soon he gets a little more irate and starts hollering, and what the hell do you mean we can do this and we can do that? And one thing led to another, and eventually I had to walk away from him because there was no talk and no rationalization would ever happen that day. So Jeep would speak his piece, but at the end result, we always had a common denominator, which meant we were together. But as a brother, I can tell you that I have Jeep as my mentor also, because when I was company commander of a company up in Bordentown, New Jersey, Jeep I had to call him up and I said, Jeep, I got a problem. He said, what's your problem? I said, I got a situation here where my supply, I need advice. And I need advice from somebody that knows more than I know. He said, all right, I'll meet you at Bordentown and we'll go over it. Well, I relied on him to help me out. And he did help me out, because we squared away the whole problem. I got rid of the first sergeant up at 8 Company in Bordentown, and things went on. But it all stemmed out from relying on one another. And that's the way it is when you are with an organization like the 114th, rely on one another. No matter who we were or what we were, we got things accomplished. Thanks, Chief.
All right. Oh, brother. Good job, Horace.
I'd like to present Will Jackson, everybody.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm very nervous, so bear with me here. I remember in the early 60s, I came into the National Guard with then Captain Mossop and Mr. MacAdams, and Captain MacAdams, and all the MacAdams brothers. And we weren't there very long before we realized, no offense, Captain Mossop, we came to realize who ran the company. Excuse me. But the first summer camp that we had was before we even went to basic training. And we had a fall out in the morning. We covered this big field, and there must have been several thousand guys out there, because there was a couple companies all together. Everybody was raining like cats and dogs. Everybody had the proper gear except me. I mean, Beetle Bailey. I had an officer's raincoat on, and everybody was wearing all-weather ponchos. So at the time, some colonel was coming through, was inspecting through the ranks, and he said to me, how do you get to wear that jacket, Jackson? I says, I know, sir, I can't find my poncho. I couldn't find my poncho. I don't know where that was. Somebody might have even done it as a trick, swap the jacket with my poncho and let me come out there with the poncho.
Here comes the excuses, yeah.
But anyway, one thing we didn't want to do was embarrass ourselves in front of, especially Mr. MacAdams, but all the MacAdams brothers. We knew that we were going to have to see these guys off campus. So that night we came back in from the field, and sure enough, I wasn't there for 10 minutes, and who comes pulling up in a Jeep? Jackson, William here. You know, there's Mr. MacAdams here. He had the poncho in his hand. He goes, here, Billy, I don't want you to have to go through that again tomorrow. I came to realize that there's a guy I could rely on, and this is 40 years later, I can still rely on him. God bless you, Mr. MacAdams. I love you. Back when I got in the Guards, back in '66, Sergeant MacAdams got me in the Guards, and the whole experience was really unique to me. I had nightmares as it was. And my first summer camp, we went to a Camp Drum, and nobody wanted to sleep with me, because they heard I had occasional nightmares. Finally, I got the guy that got in with me, John Logan. You may remember Logan, Sergeant MacAdams? Logan finally said, well, I'll sleep with Jackson. So me and Logan put up our tent, and everything was fine. About 3 o'clock in the morning, I dreamed a douche-snake was driving over us. I jump up, I mean, it is pouring rain. You know, when it rained in Camp Drum, it really rained. And it's pouring raining. I jump up, I scream, it's going to run us over. I'm screaming at the top of my voice. I knock down a whole tent. I'm running around with the tent on my head. Logan says, Jax, go lay down, let me put this tent back together again. The next day I'm in chow, and I hear everybody going, hey, did you guys hear that crazy ass last night? Screaming. I said, Willie, if Sergeant MacAdams finds out about this, I'll never live it down. Sergeant MacAdams, thank you for everything you did for us. I hope I didn't embarrass you too much.
All right. Good job, guys. All right. Here's a guy.
I'm nervous because I already had a shot in the beer at headquarters company.
Here's a guy we don't even have to introduce. Vito, DG of McConney, everybody.
I'll never forget. I was about 19, 20 years old. At a bayonet, a bunch of those guys in the barracks. Throwing this bayonet, boom, sticking in the wall. Boom, sticking in the wall. I'm about ready to throw it again. Everybody's freezing. I turn around, lo and behold, Jeep.
takes that bayonet from me, point. The last time it's going to happen, that's First Sergeant trembling. But I tell you what, I'm here today because I honor this man, and I love this man. Great guy.
All right. Good job, Pete.
Go home a little more.
That's right.
Miss the game.
I don't need to sit. I just want to tell my dad I love him, that's it.
Always have, always will. He's always been there for me. He gets me, got me from school a couple times when I hooky. Gets me every time, sometimes off the airplane when I come into town. But I can tell you how proud I am to be a MacAdams.
Tell them about the bridge.
The bridge.
Tell them about the bridge.
Come on.
Who's next? Scott? Where's Tom?
Tommy.
Thank you all for coming, by the way. We really appreciate this.
Thank
and I
you.
am writing a book about the MacAdams brothers and all the stories. So if you have stories that I can talk to you later about, we'll put them in the book. How's that, Beth? Okay. Come on, Tom.
He's a little sore from the wiffle ball.
I'll push over the top.
Yeah, I just want to say that over the years I've heard my dad talk about so many guys in the guards and the high regards that he had for everybody that were in there with him. And just knowing the people here, Russ Norderby and Ray Capper and all the guys, they're just wonderful people, and I know Jeep had so much fun with them over the years, and I just appreciate your friendship with him. Thanks so much.
Oh, hold it.
Well, until I find my father, I just want to say a quick story about when I was down in Florida with my cousin Noreen.
What?
And when we used to along, I liked to collect seashells as a kid. And I was from Belmar. And I didn't know the names of the seashells or anything like that. And I found the seashell and what is this called? What is this called? Jeep goes, well, that's a Belmar knucklehead. So until I just found out probably 2 weeks ago, the real name of the seashell, for about 22 years, I thought it was called a Belmar knucklehead. So I just want to give a short story about that and Jeep's humor, and I love this guy.
I tell you about the fire back on me when I smoked.
Oh, yeah, real quick. No, I warned him. I said, I didn't rat, I warned you. I said, here comes Crown Hilton. Here she comes. Smoking away. Because he's not very, his hearing's not that good. So I said, here she comes. He turns around, cigarettes hanging out of his mouth. And I can't even imagine what that fight was that night. But I tried to tell you, Grandpa, I tried to. Here's my father, Ken McGuff.
I can't tell half the stories I should. You know that and I know that. I guess because I was the oldest, I was a little bit more not crazy, independent than the other brothers.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy was the word.
You're right for the person there.
But just some of the things, when you talk about the real world and your everyday living, I can remember when I was that big, I used to play a little bit of baseball. He's a guy who taught me how to pitch. Across the street from our house, there was a big lane, and he used to get down there with the catcher's mitt and tell me how fast I was. And I never realized it. I mean, I really thought I was that fast. Because one time I threw him, the ball hit the glove, bang! His teeth came out of his mouth. He had the glove like this, right there, bang! There goes his teeth. That's why I had his teeth out. I didn't know he had a plate. It's one of those things. But we can go, we don't have enough tape to roll this all night long. All I can tell you is, at 55 years old that I am now, there's not a day that goes by that I don't say, thanks.
Oh, there you go.
I love them.
16, 17 grandchildren.
Does Noreen want to
You
go?
heard the one guy up there singing. I think, and how about his partner too, Danny?
Yeah.
Right.
We got Noreen.
Noreen wants to say something?
Yeah.
Come on up, girl.
I didn't plan this.
Well, nobody's written it out except for
That's right.
I didn't plan on saying anything, but I do want to say that I've got a lot of happy memories with you, Grandpa. A lot when we were young, when Evan and I were the first grandkids, so we got to spend a lot of time with you. And I remember one time, Evan and I, he used to always give us money. I think he used to always put coins and stuff in our pockets. I found a whole big stocking full the other day. 32 years later. But I remember one time Evan and I were, I don't know, we were all hanging out and he said, here you go, would you like $1? And Evan and I were like, yeah, we both wanted it. And son, you ripped the dollar in half and said, here you go, here's 50 cents for you, and here's 50 cents for you. I never forget that. I don't know why, but it stuck with me. But I want to say, you know, I had a lot of fun times. I remember the time when I came down and we went to the boardwalk and you kicked my butt at miniature golf. I was embarrassed about that. But I had a lot of fun with you, and I just want to say you're the best grandpa in the whole world.
Of what my life's been.
Can
you hear me?
I got it, yeah.
Get that thing closer.
You look say you
Hold
can.
on, yeah, get a little closer.
I'm trying to learn to do that thing, do I? Well, first place, I got 17 grandchildren, 6 children. My first wife died in 1967, and I had second my wife, Helen, here. Now I'll try to go and talk. This is for G, but how do I rate when you talk about Charlie, Joe, Ed, Horace, Rennie, they're my 5 brothers. I'm probably at the bottom of the barrel. I think so. Those 5 were always the top, so this is not, we had a little tough time. 1933, that's been 70 years ago, our father died. And we made it. We had the strongest mother in the world. We made it. Charlie brought me into this guard unit. After we come out of World War II, me, Joe, Ed, and Horace and Rennie were later on in the Korean War. But I'll just go briefly on the Navy after World War II. And I thought I was a tough guy. And I could get in pretty good with people. I don't know. I was down in the order room. I think I must have thought this guy, you can hear him forever. I got my way in. In fact, I don't know, do you remember Joe Fields, Al Mossop? Yeah. Well, Joe Fields was went to school with me, and I'm down here in Norfolk, Virginia, and come over and said, hey, can you get your 72-hour pass? You're matching me, I'm the new guy in there. I said, yeah, I get your 72-hour pass, Joe. Oh, I got Joe Fields a 72-hour pass. Well, anyhow, they had a box up in Newport, Rhode Island. They had boxing tournaments. They got 10, 20,000 troops out there. And they had these rings going, and the guy said, you want to box? I said, yeah, I'll box, what the hell? So I got teamed up, I was 135 pounds. I teamed up a guy named, who wrote it? This guy, John Phillips. This was John Sousa. It wasn't John Phillips. It was John Sousa. I went in the ring. We had 4 rounds. I won no rounds. I don't even think I hit him. He had his fist in my face. This guy had boxed on the act before. He made me look bad. They wanted to keep me there as ship's company. I said, what, for a punching bag? They didn't want to keep me, really. The ship's company up there working in the gym or something. Yeah, for a punching. So I didn't stay there anyhow. Anyhow, I got it finished up with the Navy, come back out, and Charlie MacAdams, here's a real war hero.
All right, Charlie.
He brought a bunch of guys into the organization up in Camden, 114th Infantry. I was in there, and I sort of like, I liked the military, and I went away and I went to Fort Dix with the 9th Infantry Division of Leadership School. And off the leadership school in Fort Dix, and I come back, and there was a General MacAdams. I don't know if you guys remember. This was back in 1949, 1950. He said, you want to come into full-time with the Guard, full-time guy. So I come in the Guard full-time and stayed, and I met some guys unbelievable. I stayed first sergeant there for 27 years with them, and I met some great guys there. And that's about all there is to me, and you can never name
there's a lot
guys
more.
who were there. And the reserve people, you'll see right now, look who's taking the bunt over there in Rock right now. That's the Guard and reservists, and they're doing a hell of a job.
You're right.
Without them, wouldn't be anything.
You're right.
Yeah.
So I'll just go real quick now on some of that's the faults, and I'm not the greatest guy in the world, but listen to this. I lost my fight in the Navy, right? Now next time I'll go in. When we had AGI inspections, I was the first guy. Well, actually, I was full-time, and that was my job. I wore the military uniform for 30-some years. That's it every day. So when we have AGI inspection, I usually jump right quick on the inspector. It's usually a colonel out of Fort Meade. Well, anyhow, he'd come in and he said, down in the supply room there, MacAdams wants to see you. So I get down in the supply room, and you can't talk. If you're full-time or anything, you can't call it a gas mask. It's called mask protective field. So I said, I got them here. I said, yes, sir. I had a yike jacket on. I said, there we are. I said, I got them hanging here, 300 and some. They're all on the D-ring. They've been fitted and tested. Every man's been fitted and tested, sitting there. He said, put yours on. I went over, opened mine up, and it still had the cardboard in it. It still had the cardboard pack in it. And I fumbled, and I was red as a beet. I didn't know what the heck to do. He said, put it away, forget it. So that's one time I didn't make. And I'll go one more time. I went down to Fort Benning to fire the ATAC guided missile. And there were $1,000 a piece to fire, 1,000. After you finish school, I was down there for a couple of months. After you finish school, you get a chance to fire one. And you fire the tank at, maybe 300 yards, 500 yards, wherever they're out there. But anyhow, they have, it's like in here. There's people all sitting in the stands when you're getting ready to fire. But as this thing comes out, this missile, you got to stabilize it with like a joystick. So it comes out of here, I stabilized it. But then I went down in my binoculars to pick it up, and I lost it. And it must have been going all over there. They were booing me. I couldn't give them. There was Arabs and all kind of military people watching this shit. And here, I lost it. When I went into the binoculars, I lost it. It was a guided missile, and you get funny. And so that's how some of the things I did do. Okay, thanks a lot, and thanks for coming.
All right, people. Need some music.
I can stay with Valentine.
Well, my daddy left home when I was 3, and he didn't leave much to mom and me, just this old guitar and an empty bottle of booze. Well, I don't blame him because he run and hid, but the meanest thing that he ever did was before he left, he went and named me Sue. Well, he must have thought that it was quite a joke, cause it got a lot of laughs from lots of folks. Seems I had to fight my whole life through. Some guy giggle and I get red, some guy get mad and I bust his head. Man, I'm telling you, life ain't easy being a boy named Sue. Well, I grew up quick and I grew up mean, and my fists got hard and my wits got keen. Roam around town to hide my shame. But I made me a promise to the moon and the stars that I'd search the honky tonks and bars and I'd kill that man. Gave me that awful name. Well, it was Gatlinburg in mid-July and I just hit town and my throat was dry. Thought I'd stop and I'd have myself a brew. There in an old saloon on a street of mud, sitting at a table dealing studs, sat the dirty mangy dog that named me Sue. Well, I knew that snake was my old sweet dad from a worn-out picture that my mama had. Knew that cut on his cheek and his evil eye. bent and gray and old, and I looked at him and my blood ran cold, and I said, "Hey man, my name is Sue. How do you do? Yeah, guess what? You are gonna die." Well, I hit him hard right between the eyes and he went down. But to my surprise, he come up with a knife and cut off a piece of my ear. But I busted a chair right between his teeth and we crashed through the wall and into the street, gouging in the mud and the blood and the bud and the beer. I tell you, I must fought tougher, man, but I really can't remember when. Cause he hit like a mule and he bit like a crocodile. Well, I heard him laugh and I heard him cuss and he pulled his gun, but I pulled mine first and then he looked at me and I saw him smile. He said, "Son, this world is rough, and if a man's gonna make it, he's gotta be tough." And I knew I wouldn't be there to help you along. So I gave you that name and I said goodbye, and I knew you have to get tough or die.